Spiel time. All right. Waiting for that 10-second mark. And it's 10 seconds. Good morning. My name is Sean Shapiro. This is Ask a Traffic Cop, where you get to ask a traffic cop questions for an hour, Monday to Friday. As long as we can be here, we are here for you. The show is all about you. If you don't ask us questions, we don't have much to talk about. So please ask us questions, and you can do that by using the Q&A functionality of either, depending on what platform you're on. So if you're on LinkedIn Live, use the comments. If you're on TikTok or on Instagram Live, use the Q&A functionality. We'll actually put your question on screen for the viewers on that platform, and we'll answer them. If you're on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, same deal. Just put them in the question box. We'll see them. They all go into one wonderful place, and like magic, you can communicate with us. If you're on Twitter, you can see us, but we can't see your comments, so you might want to move over by using the link tree in the bio so you can get over and find another platform that doesn't have the ability to be seen, because we want to answer your questions. That's the whole idea of what we do here. And it's Tuesday, right? Yeah, it's Tuesday. The week has been funny so far. The week has only been one day, but it's been funny because I didn't have a day at the office. I had a day that started in the office, ended at Centennial College, speaking to students about stuff and things. They're law enforcement, they're taking the law enforcement security program, the police foundations, and that was cool. And today I'll be ending my day at a school talking about traffic safety to some young people, some very young people, some younger than the average audience people, and that's a good thing. You know, we're trying to get good information to as many people as we can. I'm going to jump right into some questions right after I talk about where Vision Zero Enforcement Team is today. They are a dedicated group of officers who are going to change driver behavior one ticket at a time. They don't mind writing tickets, but they prefer not to. Why? If you want to give them a break so they can grab a coffee, stop breaking the law. They only pull people over if they're breaking the law. And today they'll be focusing on 23 Division and 42 Division. Those are the neighborhoods of Rexdale, Jamestown, Martin Grove, Malvern, Agincourt, Milliken, Rouge, Scarborough. And those are people. Those are neighborhoods where real people live, and they deserve to be safe. They deserve to be comfortable knowing that people are, taking some ownership of and responsibility and slowing down. Because speeding, distracted driving, aggressive driving, and impaired driving are behaviors that drivers choose to engage in that lead to serious injury and death on our roads. We know it. It's statistically a thing, and we can change it. Okay, let's get into a question from, is it Carisha? I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, but I hope I am. The question is it true you can go 10 kilometers above the speed limit? Legally, no. Legally, that's speeding, because anything over the posted limit is speeding. Will you get pulled over every time? I cannot guarantee you. However, if you choose to engage in speeding, you could be charged. And although it's not a huge amount of money, it's not worth it. Just slow down. It doesn't get you anywhere any faster. I know people believe that if you do 10 over, you're going to get to your destination. But on the average 5 or 10 kilometer drive, 10 kilometers over the speed limit is just going to increase your risk of collision, increase the damage in the event of collision, and do very little to actually reducing the amount of travel time that you're still speeding up and slowing down. You're just wasting gas, burning out your brakes. There is no benefit. Having a cold air filter stick out of my hood, legal? I don't know. I don't know about cold air filters sticking out of your hood. That's something that I would check with your mechanic. That's not something I would give you a hard time about, but I don't know anything about it, so you'd probably get one past me. But now that you brought it up, I'm going to have to look out into it and see what the story is about legality. It's an interesting thing. What do we got here? U-turn on green lights, right turn traffic, whose fault? So when you're engaged in a turn, you're taking responsibility. U-turn is the highest level of responsibility. You're going to be guilty or responsible for everything that happens during a U-turn. And so it's U-turn on green light, hits right turn traffic. Well, the right turn, so here's the deal. Both drivers, both involved parties, have to ensure that they can complete their turns in safety. If they don't, they're responsible, and they can both be charged. Who's more responsible is going to be something the insurance companies battle, because they don't care. We write the ticket for what that was done incorrectly. So we'll write the ticket for a turn not in safety for both parties, most likely, and then the insurance companies will fight. But a U-turn is generally more at fault than that of another turn, generally. G2 expiring, can't take the test until 2023. Is that okay? Well, if it expires, it'll be expired and you'll be unlicensed and unable to drive until 2023 when you go and renew. You can't drive with no license. So, no, it's not okay that it's expiring. If it's expiring, go take your G2 test again, and then you'll be able to drive for another 5 years, and you'll have the time to get your road time so you can get your test done and drive legally. But why can't you get your test until 2023? Is it because there's no test availability? Go on a standby list. If you want it, you can get it done. There's nothing holding you back unless your schedule is such that you're not available, and that's a different story. But go in, and if you're expired, you are expired. Do not drive. Okay. Hillary says, can I steal a traffic cone if it's on the road? No, because in your question, you have already answered it. It says stealing, and stealing is a criminal offense, so no, you cannot do that. But I didn't think you were being serious. Is a radar detector legal? No, not in Ontario. Other provinces may allow it. Ontario is not one of them. And I don't know why any province does, because all that radar detectors do is give people some information to suggest that we are doing our job as police officers trying to catch speeders. So what people do is temporarily change their behavior and avoid detection and then go out and be dangerous again. Speeding kills. Speeding is dangerous. Don't do it. But radar detectors being illegal means that we have full search and seizure authority under the Highway Traffic Act. Means we can stop you, we can search your vehicle and anyone inside of the vehicle. We can seize the item once we found it. We can even disassemble parts of your vehicle to look for it if we believe it's there. That includes jammers as well. $170 fine, 2 demerit points, not worth it. A lot of those machines are very expensive. We take them, you don't get them back. Alyssa asks the same question differently. Can I borrow a traffic cone from the road? No, it's not yours. Don't touch it. Borrowing and stealing, kind of similar. Not yours. Don't touch. Let's talk about, before the show, we came on about 8 minutes earlier, and we talked about stuff and things. Like what kind of topics would we want to talk about outside of the questions that are coming in, things that we wanted to get a head start on. So what's the answer to the question? The answer to the question is, well, someone wanted to talk about tires. Winter tires, are they a big deal? Do you have to have them? In some provinces you do, like Quebec, they mandate them. Ontario isn't one of them, but are they a benefit? Yeah, they are. I never had them. For all the years living in Ontario, I never had winter tires until my wife made me buy them. And I will never go back. I will always have winter tires now. And that's because different rubber compounds meant for colder weather actually give you better traction. They also have different tread patterns that are better for flushing out larger material like slush. When you talk about summer tires, they are good for rain, they are good for dry and hot roads. It's just one tire doesn't do it all, and all season is not all season, it's most seasons. We have Akela Jacona saying greetings with his standard greetings and salutations. Good morning, sir. He's coming in from YouTube. Twitch is alive with Q. And is it Motions? Good morning. Installing neon lights on your car, if they are legal, where on the vehicle are they applicable? So if you're talking about underglow neon, make sure they are installed such that the bulbs are not visible. All you want to see is underglow. If you see anything other than the glow from the road, you're looking at potentially getting a ticket because you can't project light outwards, front, back, side to side. That would be against the rules. What is this? This is a suggested poll. And maybe we'll come back to that in a little while. It's kind of disruptive polls. I like them, but I don't like them. We did talk to everyone asking where you're from, and you're welcome to let me know again. But the deal is that there was someone, there were folks from all over the world. Did I write down? No, I didn't write them down. I'll have to replay and get a list because that's really cool. We have a very international audience today, and I thank you for spending time with us. How do I collect more points on my license? Collecting points is not a goal. This is like golf. Lowest the score wins the prize, which is, not losing your license. Not having a hood on the car, is it legal or not legal? Speaking to my mechanic-y friends. Mechanic-y, is that a word? Mechanically inclined friends, the suggestion is that hoods are required equipment. In the event of hitting a pedestrian, you want to have them glide off your hood, not get stuck in your engine compartment and do more damage. So it's my understanding that they are required equipment. And this is another question about cold air intake isn't illegal. It's just a nice filter and allows peak performance in hot weather. That much I knew, but thank you for the comment. The question was having a stack sticking out of your hood. I don't know about the modification for putting a stack on the hood. That sounds like a pipe of some kind. I don't know if there's anything technically legal. But yes, cold air intake, nothing wrong with that. Chase says you should do a poll to see if your TikTok viewers speed. I think that the average person does speed. I think that it's hard to avoid speeding. It's peer pressure. One person does it. Now they believe it's either because they think they're going to get away with it because it's peer pressure or mob mentality. If they're speeding, I can speed too. Or let them be in front and I'll get away. It's not a good thing. Don't speed. Not only do you increase your chances of becoming involved in a motor vehicle collision, but you could get charged. And you could hurt somebody. You could hurt yourself. You also burn gas for no reason. Monica, there's a lot of people who have interesting questions today. They want to see what their mug. They want to see their mug shot. Yeah. Somehow I don't think they're being serious. I think this is a form of spam. Spam is meant to stay in a can. I don't even think you're supposed to eat spam. Does anyone eat spam? I don't eat spam. I've never actually tried spam. Spam in a can, fried spam, green eggs and ham. Spam? Is that spam? What do we got here? Collecting license points is not like PC points. Alan Strange. Is it Strang? I don't want to mispronounce. Coming from Facebook. G'day, g'day. Good morning from Ryan Pinn, sitting on the Chevy dealership waiting on maintenance. That's a respectable thing to do. You're legally parked watching TikTok. I can deal. Okay, Hillary wants to know what my favorite cop movie is, and I did a video about favorite cop show. Favorite cop movie? I don't know. That is a different question. I can't say Police Academy because that's a comedy. And I don't think comedies come into play when you talk about favorite police movies. I like the Lethal Weapon movies, but is that police? It's not at all realistic. We don't do that kind of stuff, but it was a great movie in the time before I found out that particular actor is a horrible person. But, just saying, it really did take the charm out of that movie. I have to think about this. Chase says RoboCop. I loved RoboCop. The original, not the 700 versions that came afterwards. But yeah, okay, we got to sit on this favorite cop movie and think about it. If you've got some suggestions as to what you think is the best cop movie of all time, please let me know. This is a good conversation. I want to know. Are police required to tell you they are recording? We do tell people we are recording. Are we required to? I would say yes, we are. In situations like vehicle stops, and I believe it is a requirement. Does it matter if we don't? Do things happen and sometimes we don't do it? Our procedure is to tell, but I don't think there's any negative impact if we actually don't. I don't think you lose the ability if you're in public. There's no reasonable expectation of privacy. So I'd have to review the orders, the laws about it, but I don't think there's any negative impact. Ideally, we want to tell people though. Is a semi truck who doesn't have a governor legal? No. Ontario vehicles are required to have, or for semis, are required to be limited to 105 kilometers an hour. If it's 2023, it will be 2023. What's the question of if it's 2023? The next 99 has a silly question, and I say silly because there's not an ounce of legitimacy to the question, and they're not in Canada. I say that because they're using miles per hour, so they're really just trying to be trolls. But for some reason, I'm gonna acknowledge their question anyway. 120 miles per hour in a school zone. Consequences. Well, 120 miles per hour is a whole lot of kilometers an hour, and that is without a question stunt driving. But it's also criminal dangerous driving. So I'd arrest you, and I'd also seize your car, we'll see how handcuffs feel on you. You got to be something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you if you go that fast in a school zone. If you go that fast anywhere, you're breaking the law. But in a school zone, you're a special kind of special. You notice I say special a lot because you could put in any kind of really nasty word, and I'd be okay with it. But I can't say those words because, I'm a professional. I can just allude to the fact that I think you're being silly. What ticket do you get for doing wheelies? Stunt driving charge. That's where we take your license for 30 days, take your vehicle for 14 days. Wheelies is just one of the many different acts that qualify for stunt driving. Are mods for scooters illegal? Let's get into it because someone earlier before the show who showed up on time or early said scooter tuning. Let's talk about it. The answer to your question is scooters. If you're talking about electric scooters, specifically e-kick scooters, well, they're legal as long as you maintain a certain things that fall under the legislation or pilot. So they cannot be capable of going more than 24 kilometers an hour. And that's where I lose most people because everybody wants to go faster than 24 kilometers an hour. So if you go more than 24 kilometers an hour, if it's capable on a flat surface of doing more than 24 kilometers an hour, it's illegal. It's a motor vehicle. As soon as you go 25 kilometers an hour, that's a motor vehicle, needs license, ownership, and insurance. In fact, it would qualify as a motorcycle, I think. Yeah, I think motorcycle. If it's got a 500 watt or more, more than 500 watt motor, so 501 watt, illegal. If it's, what is the other thing? There's another thing. I can't think of the one for e-kick. Oh, if it has a seat. You put a seat on it, it's illegal. It's a motorcycle. It needs a license, ownership, and insurance. Now, that insurance means that if you don't have the insurance, $5,000 to $25,000 in fines, up to 6 months in jail. That's a bad day at the office for an electric kick scooter. Now, if you're talking about e-bike scooters, then again, they can't go, well, this time they can't go more than 32 kilometers an hour. You're required to wear a helmet, but that's not a modification. You cannot have an an electric scooter or e-bike that goes above, or that has more than 500 watts of motor power, has more than 120 kilos in weight, except there's a pilot for e-cargo. That's a different situation, but it would have to be a cargo style. Anyway, license, ownership, and insurance. Those are motorcycles once you go. It's not that they become motorcycles. They were already motorcycles. That's okay. Already motorcycles, and then the legislation is like magic. It only works while you conform to it. So a lot of people doing I shouldn't say a lot of people. We have seen people doing 90 kilometers an hour on an electric bicycle. That is super illegal, and that's a good way of ensuring that you have a lot of fines. And then the update says, sorry, I meant mopeds 49cc. So mopeds that are truly legal mopeds licensed with a motorcycle license, because you need a motorcycle license to operate a moped in Ontario. They need to be insured and plated. And what kind of mods are we talking about? Because you can't hop them up. If they have to be conforming to the moped, functional pedals and all that stuff. If you're talking about a bicycle that you strap on a motor, you convert a bicycle into a moped by doing that. Well, then they have to have license, ownership, and insurance. They're motorcycles. And I have to stop. I have to stop. Why? Because my wife is here. Hi, how you doing? My wife joined the live. What do you think of the new setup? We're playing with stuff and things, new software. Anyway, good morning. Good morning. My wife supports me. She comes into the live. She hangs out. It's cool. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay. What do we have here? Going back to that 120 mile per hour school zone run, Kayla says, can they make the Kessel run in less than 13 parsecs? Does anyone know what that reference is from? I do, because I'm a geek. All right. You would do boo-boo-doo. All right. The Canadian Show. Good morning. Post Blue Jays games, you sometimes have cops directing traffic. Other games, you don't. What determines if police show up post-game? Makes a big difference trying to get out of the city core. And that is based on a traffic plan. Based on the numbers of people who attend the Jays games, there is a traffic plan because of the congestion that's created. If it's something that doesn't qualify based on numbers or whatever the powers that be make that determination, then they don't put the resources there. But Blue Jays games are big call-outs, so that's why. Now, there are very often those kind of setups put in place based on pay duties where they what's it called? What is it called now? The Rogers Center? It's not called the Sky Dome no more. They will hire officers to help direct traffic, but certain things are so big that they qualify, I believe, for a traffic plan. But I am not part of the organization of that, so I'm not sure exactly what the threshold is. I'm speculating to some degree. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. Someone wants to put tractor tires on my truck. I don't think you can put tractor tires on your truck, but I don't know for certain. Are there licenses coming out for e-bikes? I wish there were. I don't think there are, but I'd like to see that. Canadian Show supports that it should always be called the Sky Dome. I remember when the Sky Dome was a it was yet to be named. And I went into the Eaton Center. By the way, Eaton Center is a downtown big shopping center. And there were people standing there asking you to vote. It was a contest. Name the dome that is yet to be named. And Sky Dome won. I thought it was awesome. What a great way to do it. And now these other names just don't work. I agree with you 100%. It's Sky Dome forever. Okay. Can you modify a Yamaha Zuma in Ontario? I don't know what a Yamaha Zuma is. So I can't answer your question because I don't know what it is. My driver's window broke. Can I use plastic? Is this like a long-term thing? First of all, I don't know what the laws are in Alberta, and you did put Alberta in brackets, so thank you, because that allows me to say that I really don't know what the laws are there. In terms of Ontario law, if you're planning on a long-term driving experience, I would not use plastic. If it's raining and you're trying to get to the mechanic shop or you're parking it overnight, yeah, that's fine. But you cannot see properly through plastic. Thus, it's unsafe. Thus, you could be considered unsafe and get a ticket, or even taken off the road. Are Surons 100% illegal? Street illegal? Are Surons the bicycle that looks like a dirt bike? I think that's what you're talking about. Please let me know, RL, if that's what you're talking about. I've seen some pretty badass off-road electric dirt bikes. I would say that they are 100% illegal for the street, but I don't know exactly what we're talking about. So let's chat about it. Let me know more. Are you allowed to chase someone going 300? Are you talking about miles per hour or kilometers per hour? 300. The fact is that whether it's a car or a motorcycle, we have had people who have been charged for doing that. That's when you start calling helicopters and investing real time into going after people who are so disgusting that they choose to put lives at risk. That's someone that deserves to be arrested and never see four wheels or two wheels again. That to me is a lifetime ban. Now, stunt driving, and that's criminal, but stunt driving and criminal dangerous, you could see a lifetime ban. Yeah. It bugs me when people do stupid things, and there are so many people to do stupid things. It keeps us employed, but it's just not okay. People don't realize how precious life is until it's ripped from their clutches. It's so easy to die, and I mean that because we see it all the time. Minor collisions where fender benders is one thing. We talk about speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, impaired driving. We know that those lead to serious injury and death, and it's so incredibly sad to have to explain to people why their family is never coming home, why their mom or dad is never coming home, why to a parent why their child is never coming home. So people who talk about doing 300 because they want to sound cool on the internet, whatever. But in reality, people who do that are absolutely out of their minds. And I don't mean like mental health. I mean, they're making horrible decisions that could impact entire communities, including the people that we assume you care about. So do yourself a favor and grow up. And if you're going to go fast, do it on a track, because there are options. Where is Visa? You missed it, Chase. We talked about it earlier today. 32 Division and 42 Division, Rexdale, Jamestown, Martin Grove, Malvern, Agincourt, Milliken, Rouge, Scarborough. That's where they are. Helping people out, changing driver behavior one ticket at a time. Let's see here. Can you carry a knife in the car for emergency purposes? Knives are tools, and you can have knives and tools for various purposes. If you're carrying something because you are concealing it to use as a weapon, that's a problem. If you are carrying something for as a weapon, it's a different intention. It's absolutely a problem. Carrying a knife, a utility knife, is something you use for work. So it really depends on the context. What we got here. Is it illegal to drive without insurance with a G2? I know where you're going with this. That's not the wording you used. The vehicle in Ontario has to be insured. You as a driver don't necessarily have to be insured if you're borrowing somebody's car. But in Ontario, the vehicle is insured, not the person. Now, if you are living with the person that you're borrowing the car from, well, you need to have, you need to be put on as a secondary driver. But that's not a legal thing from the police's perspective. That is something from the insurance company, which is a private company. It's not it's not corporately or it's not government-owned insurance here in Ontario. It's a private company. They make the rules to some degree. They say they want extra coverage for someone who is living with the owner of the vehicle. Then you'd need insurance coverage, or they could deny your claim. I wouldn't give you a ticket for it, but they could deny a claim. Ryan Pinn says a good sailor always has a knife. Let's see here. This may be a common question, but I find a lot of people do 130 to 150 on the 401. Do you feel like we're getting these offenses often enough? From Rob, easier than saying my username. Thank you. Yeah, we are seeing the unofficial speed, an unacceptable speed, where people are just going way, way, way too fast. It is wrong. And I don't know why it's become socially acceptable, other than the fact that we're not stopping and charging and arresting people nearly enough. And we need to. But you know what? We need also the community, you and everybody else, to make it socially unacceptable to speed. Right now, people go fast and it's just like, whatever. People who just generally drive faster than the speed limit. You know what? If everyone just does the speed limit, we are going to slow the roads down. If you're in lanes 2, 3, and 4 and you're doing the speed limit, and then everyone who's going faster has to go in the lane 1, I personally believe that you shouldn't be going, and I should not just believe, the law states you cannot go faster than 100. So that's as fast as you can go, then you can be in any lane at 100. Now, other police services and when these nincompoops who are trying to pass you because they've got somewhere more important to go because they don't know how to go to sleep on time or wake up on time or plan their day to leave on time. But anyway, I'm ranting. Those people are choosing to make the roads unsafe. And when we all sort of buy into it and go unsafely with them, we are upping the minimum speed limit. It's the unofficial speed limit. I'd like to see photo radar. I'd like to see photo radar on every highway, and if you do, any speed over the speed limit, you just get tacked on a nice ticket in the mail. That might slow people down, especially if it was big fines. We have the lowest cost fines in the country. I'd like to see those fines go up too. I know I'm not saying anything popular right now to people who like to speed, but what are we going to do? When are we going to make a decision that makes the roads safe? See, people get upset when there's shootings in our city. People get upset when there's murders, and yet when people are speeding, we don't speak out. We don't speak out because it's become this acceptable thing to do, and it shouldn't be. See, we have very often the same or more traffic fatalities as we do murders in our city. So if those numbers are equal, why are we upset about one set but not the other? Somehow traffic-related fatalities are less upsetting to the general public, and it shouldn't be. Death is death, regardless of how you got there, and it shouldn't be acceptable. I'm going to get off the soapbox now and move on. But I obviously have some strong feelings about people being killed as a result of the poor decision-making of some drivers. U-turns on a red light. Please explain for the drivers in Peel. U-turns on a red light are not legal. You cannot go through an intersection even to turn around within it when the light is red. You must stop. If the light is green and it's safe to do so and not signed otherwise, you can make a U-turn, but it has to be safe, and you're entirely responsible for everything that happens. But on a red light, you would be charged for, either running the red light if you didn't come to a stop, or proceed before green if you did come to a stop. Okay. Alan wants to know what my wife brought me for lunch. I didn't bring a lunch today. I didn't even look in the fridge. I did not. Hey, if you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police, currently ranting about people who are choosing to drive unsafely. Actually, we're talking about a whole bunch of things. This is Ask a Traffic Cop, where you can ask me traffic and police questions. Use the Q&A functionality on the platform you are on. And if you don't want to ask questions, that's okay. You can just lurch. Is it lurk, not lurch? Lurch is a character from a movie. Should I get my license sticker online or should I go in person to Service Ontario? Well, if you have a vehicle that weighs less than 3,000 kilos, I don't think you even need a sticker anymore. You do need to renew your sticker. You need to renew your plate. I'm sorry, old habits. You need to renew your plate online. You can do it for 1 or 2 years. It's free. You can also go in person, but why would you? Save the gas. All right. We have a request, a reminder. We've got a suggestion. Is Volley here? Volley, where are you? Stand by. Here, you can. This is the other camera angle. I got to open up Volley. And the only reason I've not already opened up Volley is because I have my Volley phone occupado at the moment. Let's see here. Open that. Opening volley in case there's a ton of volleys. I should really put that here. Let's move that here. All right. Never again will I misplace my volley. All right, I can switch back to the regular angle. I'm back. Let Volley open up. Anyway, Volley is a community space that you can come and join. How do you get there? Use the link tree in the bio. That has a button that says, ask me a question on Volley. It allows you to send me video, voice, or text. And Volley's not opening. I was thinking about it. I don't know. Not working. I may be out of the Volley game for today. Wait, I can open up on my screen. Volley. Is it going to work for me? No. Did I spell volley incorrectly? What's the website? Volley app? Come on. Oh, it is EY. It must be Volley app. Come on, there we go. It is volleyapp.com. Log in. I want to get this on screen. And then I want to be able to play your stuff. Okay, I'm going to quit out of here because this is just pathetic. It no want to work. Oh, I'm in. All right. Q&A. We got 2 questions in Volley. Jay says, good morning, Mr. Shapiro. How are you this morning? Also, we talked about I won't read the whole thing because it's getting into the same stuff again. Can I play this and will it play for you? Let's see. I don't know if I would lay a charge for that. Obviously, I've seen it happen since I was a kid. Could you be charged for something? If the traffic started moving and you were interfering with it by not driving or impeding traffic, yeah, possibly, maybe. I'd avoid doing it. I think it's unsafe to get out of the middle of the road and stand somewhere. But interesting. It didn't play for everybody? Did everybody hear that? Nobody heard the question? Only TikTok heard the question? Come on. Really? All right. That makes me unhappy. I don't know how to fix that. Anyway, TikTok heard it, but nobody else heard it. Chase, you're on YouTube, so you didn't hear it. Let's do this. Stand by. Let's try this.
If I'm stopped at a red light, is there a charge if I get out of the car and open the trunk and throw my jacket on and get back in? Is there anything I'm breaking?
Did that work? Got it. Mix minus feature. I got to remember to turn that back on when we're on with Jerry Agar. Otherwise, they will not be happy. All right. That Volley button, that Volley playback, you want to send me voice messages, feel free. You got to join the Volley app. It's free to do that, and it's cool. It's neat. It's nice. I like it. All right. What do we got? So back to Chase's question, which now that we've all heard it, what's the story? I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it's safe. Is it against the law? Like I said, I think there could be some charges, but let's move on. Fastest speed you've seen someone pulled over for? I think 305 is the fastest in recent years. Not by me, mind you, but it made the news. Stopping for emergency vehicles on a 4-lane highway, please explain. Well, a highway is any road in the province of Ontario. If you mean an expressway, that's different. If you're talking about in traffic, when traffic is moving slowly, it's the actual definition states to pull over to the side of road or edge of roadway closest side of road or edge of roadway. Curb, closest curb or edge of roadway. And the deal is that we want you to do that as quickly as safely as possible and stop. Now, if you're in a 4-lane road undivided, where it's a center painted line, obviously it's going to be to the right. That's going to be the closest curb. We don't want you going across oncoming traffic. That would be silly. But pull over as quickly as possible, come to a stop. Let that emergency vehicle get to where they're going because they are trying to save the day in their own special way. Who has watched Paw Patrol? All right. Is it illegal to accelerate rapidly from a stop? This is a regular question that we get. Why on earth does anyone need to go fast? I mean, What is the purpose? It's not safety. It's just to have fun, and fun is not it's not a drag strip. So doing 0 to 60 as quickly as possible could be careless, could be racing, could be a number of things. It all depends on what the officer sees and interprets. So don't do it, because I, for one, in most situations, would find that reason to stop and investigate somebody. Whether I lay charges will be a different situation. Is rolling coal illegal, aka black smoke? Rolling coal is not legal. That's an emissions issue. What isn't a law that you feel should be a law? Well, I definitely think that we should be regulating e-bikes much more. I think they should be all licensed vehicles, regardless of the fact that they have engines. I think they should be insured, but that's a me personal thing. That is a deal. What happens if a G1 driver is caught speeding? They get a speeding ticket. And I'm assuming the person supervising them gets a talking to for being a horrible example of a supervising driver, because that's exactly why you have a supervising driver, so you can tell them not to speed and do other silly things that would not make them a good driver, would not make them a good candidate for a license. But what else happens? Well, depending on the number of demerit points that you get, you also end up with a suspension, because as a learner, you have more conditions. Can you get charged by posting a traffic offense on TikTok? Why, yes, you can. The York Regional Police have recently charged a motorcycle rider for doing some silliness. So yes, you can, but it depends. There's a number of factors that must be met: time, date, location, identity of the driver, and so on. So yes, you can, but not always. What is the minimum age to be? The minimum age limit to be a passenger on a motorcycle? You got age and minimum and limit, and they don't go together. Anyway, the minimum age to be on a motorcycle there is no minimum age. It's based on your ability to touch the passenger floorboards or pegs, and obviously safely hang on and wear a proper helmet. Safe Driver says, well said about speeding problems, Sean. Well, thank you very much. Safe Driver, if you don't already follow him, is a magical man from Happy Land. His name is Scott, and he is the Safe Driver. He's a blogger, a podcaster, a TikToker, a YouTuber, former judge from the show Canada's Worst Driver. You should follow him if you don't already, because he's just awesome. And he's a buddy. And Volley, thank you for the reminder about Volley. Volley, I don't see any new Volleys. Maybe the general, random, what do we got here? Let me look into my Volley cage. I got some people. Oh, we got Michael posted some videos watching Chips. If you didn't know, Chips is the best television show to ever be on television. I'm not biased at all. It's not the reason I became a police officer or anything. Chips. Yeah. Baker and Poncherello. Best cops ever. Okay, that might be a slight stretch. Is it legal to carry a BB gun? Are you transporting a BB gun, or are you carrying it on your person as a concealed weapon? It's still it's not classified as a firearm if it's less than 500 feet per second muzzle velocity, but is it brandishing a weapon? If someone sees it and calls the police, will you be taken down at gunpoint? Yeah. It's not a good idea. But you can transport them. I wouldn't want to put that in a holster and walk around with it, because you're going to be scaring the public, and it's going to end very badly. Christmas lights on roof racks, illegal. Minor, so if you're not projecting tremendous amount of lights, it's not a problem. The ones that are battery powered and fairly low power, I don't see an issue with them. Flashing red, bad, not allowed to have that. But if you're having just constant on, not flashing, low power LED accent lights, I don't have an issue, though. I don't think there's any problem with them at all. Recently, an article was published in the Toronto Star. We talked about that, and if it's Christmas lights in the season and nothing else going on, you're probably okay. What happens if you sell your gun when you get fired? It's not my gun to sell. If muffler is put back on, is ticket reduced or removed? So if you're driving around with no muffler, the offense has been committed at the time that you were witnessed, the time that the charges were laid. Putting it back on doesn't resolve the issue of the fact that you had taken it off. So you can put it back on, and maybe they will take that into consideration. That's up to the court. But the offense doesn't change. That's like people who say they forgot their driver's license, but if I bring it to the police station in 24 to 48 hours, can you drop it because I went home and got it? See? No. The offense took place when you didn't have it on you, and that's it. You're guilty. And you'd have to explain why you didn't have it then, not why you do have it now. I don't understand. But I do understand that the courts can do whatever they want. But in terms of were you guilty at that time? Yeah. There's no defense for it. You didn't have it. I forgot. Oops, sorry. That's not a defense. It's an excuse. It's a big difference. How long does it take for a case to show up online? Like you got a speeding ticket, and how long does the ticket take to get processed? Usually about 4 business days. But there's a number of days before it even gets into the system. Once it's logged, and now they're electronic for the most part, it's about 4 business days. Are military tires rated for road on trucks? I don't know. Military, everything has different rules, and military vehicles have different rules. They don't have to conform to all the rules of the province. They operate under federal law. In fact, active military don't even need to have a provincial driver's license when they're operating motor vehicles that are for the military. They have a military driver's license. Roundabout saying is, I don't know about tires for military vehicles. I don't think they care. Let's see here. Can we get more safety inspections done? We do. If we see gross defects or major defects, we stop vehicles. We pull plates, and based on that, they have to go get safety to be issued plates again. But regular safety inspections, something that may come down the pipe, but it's not something that I'm aware of happening right now. My wife's favorite character from Chips is Baker. Oddly enough, Baker was supposed to be the star of the show. This is for anyone who's a Chips fan. Baker was supposed to be the star, but Eric Estrada, who played Frank Poncherello, took over as the funny guy, and he became the star, not through intention or plan, but he was the fan favorite. Ryan Pinn says, I think there was an episode of Full House where DJ, Kimmy, and Stephanie got out of a car, ran around it, then got locked out of it in traffic. That sounds like a bad day at the office. I can't imagine how you explain that to anybody. We were doing silly stuff, and now we can't get back in the car. All right. Chase says, last time the chief was on, he said that most guns in Toronto come in from the U.S. Was TPS consulted when they banned legal handguns? I have no idea. I mean, I do recall what you're talking about. Was the TPS consulted? I don't think that anyone was consulted, because everything that I've seen in the media, and I'm speaking from a consumer of media watching the news, most police services are saying that this won't change crime. They've said it in the media. And chiefs have gone up and said that banning legal firearms and affecting legal firearm owners won't change crime, but that's not stopping the government. So I don't know. Make no sense to me. Canadian living abroad, can I use a foreign license? What do you mean? Are you licensed in Ontario? Are you licensed, or are you no longer licensed, or never been licensed in Ontario or a province, and you're just traveling around? That's a big difference, because if you live somewhere else and you're Canadian by citizenship but not residence, you need the have a license in the place where you reside. If you come back to Ontario or whatever province, you would then trade your license from the place where you resided, and you'd get an Ontario license again. In fact, if you are, I don't know, someone traveling, you're an international student, for example. If you come to Ontario, you need to get an Ontario license, and no other license would be accepted here once you're an Ontario licensed driver. More on that if you want more information, but I don't know where you're going, and I want to give you the right answer. What charges are for pulling into oncoming traffic? It depends, because just the act of going into oncoming lanes isn't necessarily an offense, but going into oncoming traffic is different. And there's a whole slew of things that might be laid, but it depends on what we're talking about. Are you talking about driving towards vehicles, or just going into a lane that's unoccupied for no reason, like to make a turn or something? Not that I endorse it, just that's what I want to know. Are loud supercars illegal? If loud supercars are driven loudly, then yeah, they're illegal. If a vehicle is licensed or sold in Ontario, they have to conform to the rules of vehicles being sold here. They can only be so loud. If someone revs that engine and it starts to whine like an F1 race car, that's illegal. And that's unnecessary noise, because they chose to do that. The vehicle didn't have to do that to travel 40 kilometers an hour. Let's see here. I'll come back to that, Chase. I got to think about it. Chase, the fact that I always say it's great to be a police officer, and he wants to know if there's anything that has made me question your career when you were out in the field. I have to think about that. But I think there's laws and things that happen all the time in politics, and you always question because actually, you know what? We'll tackle this right now. It's upsetting when the police are vilified in the media. It's upsetting when the police are vilified by those who choose to vilify the police for no reason because of one bad actor or one event. It's broad strokes when the 99.99% of police are awesome heroes running to save people every day, who go and put their lives on the line every day. And you have people who focus on the bad. And it's like this in every situation. You know, priests, 99.9% of them, awesome. One does something bad, all priests are bad. No. Doctors, people are people. There's going to be bad people in the mix, but you don't vilify the whole group. To me, that's the same as racism. Now you're going after people based on their careers. So that really bothers me. And I won't go further into it, but I don't like when people actively hate other people for whether their beliefs or their careers or anything. Bothers me. So that's something that bothers me. Did I get that? Did you get that impression? Will you pull someone over going 39 in a school zone? If the speed limit is 30, then yes. Why wouldn't I? They're speeding. What do you have to do to become a police officer? Start by going to www.tps.ca/careers. That's where you can get all the information you ever wanted to know about everything you need to do and to qualify to become a police officer, special constable, parking enforcement officer, civilian member of the police service. We have so many job postings. You could be there for hours. But if you are interested in becoming a member of the service, check it out. Police officer information is there. Jay says, how many years until you can... How many years until we can say Chief Shapiro? I don't think I'm in line for that job, but I appreciate the vote of confidence and support. That's awesome. Okay. Get in trouble for drifting in a parking lot. Snow drifting. Yes, because that's stunt driving. Drifting is not legal on private or public property. I'm going to try and have this. I've been reluctantly waiting I want the tea that's in here, but I also acknowledge that I'm going to get burnt, and I don't want to get burnt. It's this weird thing. I don't know why I have a thermos. It's too dang hot. Way too hot. Wow. I got to open this thing up. Sheesh. I need a vent on this thing. It's just too hot. But it's the only cup I got. Okay. And then at home, I make the tea, and by the time I sip it, it's too cold. I cannot win with tea. But I want the tea, but I can't win with the tea. Okay. Is 120 okay on the 401? 120 is speeding on the 401 because the speed limit is 100. So if you're doing 20 over, you're speeding. I don't know why this is difficult. And I don't know why people choose to do it. You don't get there much faster. Yes, I understand 20 over is a significant amount of speed over the speed limit. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really constitute getting there much faster on the average ride. If you were doing a consistent 20 kilometers an hour over the speed limit in a 100 zone and you didn't brake or stop or anything over a period of time, you'd get there 20% faster. Does that math work? Does that make sense? I think that math works, although I haven't verified that math. But you would get there because you'd be sustained increase in speed, but the average person isn't going to do that. They're going to go up and down and up and down. They're going to burn out their brakes. They're going to burn more gas. It's not efficient. It doesn't make sense. Don't do it. Just say no. Don't give in to it. All right. Is it illegal to go 90 in the 90 zone, but on a 50cc? So, the minimum cc, I think, access to the highways is 50cc. Unless things have changed. A controlled access highway, I believe 50cc is the minimum. So if you had 49cc, you couldn't go on the highway. I think you can with a 50cc. But I'm going to have to double check on you. Who wants to go on a 50cc? That is dangerous. It's dangerous because that's not a lot of power. You got nowhere else to go at 90. Can you go faster than 90 in a 50cc? That thing must be redlining and preparing to explode at those speeds. I may be wrong. I don't think a 50cc would even roll with my rear end on it. Just saying. I witnessed someone going 200 on the QEW yesterday. Were you in the vehicle, Derek, or were you watching it pass you? I see vehicles going ridiculously quickly all the time. They pass me like I'm not moving. Why? Because I'm doing the speed limit and I'm annoying everybody around me. I'm that guy on the highway doing the lawful thing. Why can't I have 30% front tint? Do you mean front windshield? Because it's unsafe, and it's been determined that it's unsafe. And if you put it on there, your vehicle is unsafe. And then what we do is we pull your license plates, and then you can't drive anymore with that vehicle because it's unsafe. If you mean the vehicle, if the window is left and right of the driver, you can have 30% light blockage, meaning 70% of the light has to get through. And if you are driving around at night, we can't see in. Well, that's considered another problem. It's called obscuring the interior of your motor vehicle, and there's a ticket for that as well. Anything you do to prevent us from seeing in is a problem. There's a safety side of it, and then there's the other side where you're preventing people from enforcing rules, like wearing seatbelts or like because we can't see you, you can't identify you. There's all sorts of issues that come into play at that point. Are 70cc scooters illegal? When you say scooters, do you mean, well, what do you mean? Do you mean a small gas-powered scooter that's licensed for the road? What do you mean? Because if it's a gas-powered licensed scooter that's insured, operated by a person who has a motorcycle license, then it doesn't sound illegal to me. First trip on the 407 free since it can be a mistake. No, I don't think there's any freebies. Not that I'm aware of. I don't think they let you try before you buy. Kenneth wants to know about fishing and outdoor activities. Not my department. This is someone who does not actually. I have gone fishing. I just don't make a habit out of it because it requires going into the woods or the lakes. I'm not the outdoorsy person unless it's on a motorcycle. I have rented boats. I have gone fishing. I do like it, but I'm not that guy. You know who is? Sergeant Campbell's that guy. He even wears a hat from Beachcombers. Does anyone know what Beachcombers is? Because I had to look it up. I couldn't remember. There was a character with that sailor kind of toque, and he walked in to get coffee, and he was wearing that hat. And the only thing I could think of was that character from the show that I couldn't remember, but it was all about moving wood on the water. And I looked it up, and it was Beachcombers. And then I had a flashback of all the TV shows that I watched when I was a kid. Where is that guy, Sergeant Bino? So that guy wasn't feeling very well, and he's still not sounding very good, but he's here. He's back. Okay. What are the regulations for modified exhausts in Ontario? Well, you can't really modify exhausts. They have to be functional exhaust systems. If they don't function as designed, well, the modification makes them improper. AKA, they're not muffling. Sorry, let me rephrase. Mufflers must muffle. You must have a muffler and appropriate equipment like a resonator, whatever your vehicle needs to be meeting requirements. You can't gut it out. You can't have a straight pipe. You can't remove your cats. Exhaust is really the all-encompassing system from the cat back, or maybe even including the cats, maybe part of the exhaust system. In any case, Relic. Yes, Tracy Bell. It was Relic. Thank you. It took me 2 posts of reading it. Beachcombers. Yes. He doesn't quite. He's not skinny like Relic. Not that he's not skinny. I don't know. Move on. But regulations. It's about decibels being generated. My understanding is you cannot generate more than 70 decibels of noise with an exhaust system in Ontario from stock. When you're making more noise than that, you run into the risk of other issues. But I'm not a mechanic, and I don't pretend to be one. But if you're making a lot of noise, you're looking at problems with exhaust systems. Also, if you have smoke coming out, it's a problem. People say, exhaust systems aren't about reducing smoke. According to the HTA, they are. Shouldn't winter tires be mandatory? That is not something that I get to decide. I'd like to see that. I think it's a great thing for everyone to do. And people say, I don't want to spend the extra money. Well, you know what? If you have winter tires and you have summer tires and you switch them, you tend to get twice as much life out of both sets. So money-wise, it evens out. But, whatever. That's just me making sense of things. You're getting paid for answering these questions. Oh, Wowie wants to know. As a matter of fact, I am. This is something I do on a Monday to Friday kind of basis when I'm at work. I spend 1 hour a day, and I answer traffic and police questions because the public has questions to be answered. And if I was at a trade show, I'd be doing it at a trade show. And we do that while getting paid too, because very often we don't come to work if we're not getting paid. I don't know. Do you go to work if you don't get paid? We get paid. I'm a media relations and media or a social media officer. Media relations and social media, yeah, that's what it is. But I do a whole bunch of things. This is just one of the things I do. What I'm doing shortly after the show is going to a local school to talk to some kids about being safe on the road, when crossing the road, when riding bicycles in and around roads, being safe. That's what we want for everybody. Can you use a phone when train is passing? If you are on the road and you are not legally parked, you cannot use your phone. Train or no train, no using phone. What do I do if I witness a cop being unlawful? This is a great question that I hear all the time, and the question is, what is unlawful? Most people think it's speeding or using their phones. Well, the truth is that police are exempt from the laws specific to speed and using their handheld communication devices because they have to for work. They are in the lawful execution of their duties. They can do it. If you're talking about in their personal vehicles, that's a different story. If you're talking about at work, in the lawful execution of their duties, they can use both. And that's where most people think that they cannot do things that they're being unlawful, but they're not. Do you ever cut people brakes for speeding? I've reduced in the past when I was a new officer. I often reduced and gave it no points. Took a 20, made it a 15, so there was no demerit points. I stopped doing that when everyone who got a break for getting 15 over still went to court and wasted the court's time. See, the reason I gave a break was not to give you a break, was to not cause money to be wasted in court. So if you were going to plead guilty and just not waste the court's time, I'll give you a break. If you're going to then show up, I'm going to ask to raise the ticket to the original speed, because if you're going to waste the court's time, you don't deserve the break. It's not about getting you a reduction in your insurance. Alan says you can use your phone if you're on the train. Very good point, Alan. On the train and not driving a motor vehicle is the time that you should spend on your phone. Absolutely. How high can you lift your truck? My understanding is 3 inches is the max for a lift kit. Things have to be OEM approved. When you go beyond that, it's not a good idea. You change the way your vehicle handles. And although most vehicles don't flip on their own, like we're not talking about the samurai days of yesteryear, but if you have a vehicle that is is now taller and is now tippier, it may not have to wait until it's tipped. It may tip on its own. Do police really make 100+ K a year? Yes. Check out our website, www.tps.ca/careers. Top pay for a first-class constable is over $100,000 a year. While you're being trained, it's over $60,000. What is this? 2 minutes to go. Can parent insure a your car for cheap? I don't know what your question is. Davis Fleming says, can a parent insure and reg? Oh, so you want to know if somebody else can register the vehicle for you so it's lesser expenses being, you lower insurance rates. They register it in their name. The insurance. Listen, I drove my mother's car. She had 2 cars. I drove that car at 16, and I was a secondary driver. That's reasonable. If you're, as long as you're on the up and up, that you live together. But if you're going to have somebody else register your vehicle and you're going to be the full-time driver in that car, you might be engaged in insurance fraud. Depends. It's up to them to determine what their policies are and what their requirements are. If you're doing something and lying to them, that's a problem. That's a problem. What's this? Main difference between policing in Canada versus the USA. Our laws are different. We're geographically in different places. It's colder here. I don't know if there's an easy way to paint a line. The fact that there's fewer firearms, although we still see them with illegally here. There's no legal carry for so there's differences, but I don't know how much of the actual job is different, other than the fact that it's colder here. And what else? Yeah, I don't know. The laws are definitely different. And every province has different laws. Every state has different laws. It's different everywhere you go. I got a friend of mine coming up from the States. He's a sergeant in Washington State, and we're going to talk a lot about different laws. We're going to get to know the laws in our different areas. Halulululu from YouTube says, hello, friends. All right. Are you allowed to drive someone's car without insurance? We've asked and answered this question a number of times. The vehicle must be insured in Ontario as long as you are licensed for that class of vehicle and your license is valid and you can operate that motor vehicle unless you're contravening some contractual obligation you have with the insurance company. It's a long way of saying, from a police perspective, you can drive it if it's licensed and insured, if you're licensed for it and the vehicle's insured, and if you live with the person, chances are the insurance company wants you to be listed on there. Is there a BAC equivalent for pot? There's a buccal swab test that they can do to see if there's THC, but ultimately it's going to be to lay the charges. You're going to be in front of a drug recognition expert, and they're going to make a determination as to what they think you're under the influence of. I don't think it's as simple as a certain level. They want to show that you're under the influence of it. Do you think banning firearms will really help? I don't, but that's not my call. What do we have? Thank you for your service from Gemma. You're most welcome. I have a lot of fun doing this. I love being a cop. I like helping people. So this is something I'm very blessed and fortunate to be able to be involved in. Policing as a career is a fantastic, rewarding option. If you're looking for a great career, a job, or a career with many jobs, because you can do all sorts of different things. I've done all sorts of different things since joining the police service 22 years ago. Definitely a good thing to do. But thank you very much. I appreciate the appreciation. What do we have here? Have you ever made poor career choices? Yeah, I worked for McDonald's. No, actually, that was a really good experience. When's the chief on next? He's coming in this month, but I got to check the date. I don't remember offhand, Chase. The chief is coming back for an episode sometime soon, and you'll be able to ask questions in advance by going to our volley space. Want to get into our volley space? www.tps. Oh, wait. I'll give you a different address. Trafficcop.ca. I don't pitch that very often, but trafficcop.ca will take you to my link tree. It'll take you to a button that says "Ask me a question on volley," and you can get me there. Trafficcop.ca. What is this? Some silly question there. Can you get a DUI 12 hours after smoking or more? If you're still under the influence, I suppose you could. I don't know how long it takes. I'm not a drug recognition expert. I don't know how long it takes for you to sober up after marijuana. I don't smoke it. Don't know nothing about it, other than what I've been trained on, but haven't utilized in a while. So I got to read up on my marijuana stuff. If you're under the influence, though, and it could take different people different lengths of time to deal with it, you could potentially be under the influence 12 hours later, I'm guessing. I think I have to talk to the drug recognition expert. He might be in his office. This is going to be a good conversation. What do we got here? Where's the Sarge? I'll tell Tracy you say hi. Sorry, I'll tell Sarge you say hi, Tracy. That's what I meant to say. Is there a height requirement? No, there is no height requirement. Used to be 100 years ago, not anymore. Is a degree necessary? What is the best major? No degree necessary at the moment. Grade 12 or Ontario Secondary School diploma is the minimum requirements right now. But it is always good to have a degree. It's a competitive process. Is the police budget too high? Not something I got any call on. Don't know nothing about numbers. I don't deal with police budget stuff, so not my department, but you can certainly ask the police chief when he's on next. I imagine he'll say no, because we're always looking for more money, because we are very much a company, for lack of a better term, that has a lot of employees. That's our biggest expense, and we're understaffed. So if we don't have enough budget and we're understaffed and we can't hire more because we don't have enough money, it means we're understaffed, under budget, or need a bigger budget. Akela says, stay safe and remember, don't have a good day, have a great day. Thank you very much. We'll certainly endeavor to do that. As a new cop, what would your day look like? As a new cop, as a cop in general, you would show up, as a divisional officer, and actually traffic officer too, you'd show up, you'd get into your uniform, you'd parade for duty before a supervisor to make sure that you have all of your required equipment, that you're good to go and capable of performing your duties as a police officer, and then you would be assigned a vehicle, a radio, and a place to hang out, and then you would respond to radio calls. And when you were waiting for a radio call, you would enforce the Highway Traffic Act, or look for things that are not right in terms of patrol, and look for things where you might be able to lend assistance. And that is one of those self-generated calls, or you would be dispatched to a call, and very often, being that we are understaffed, is you would be dispatched to one call, and as soon as you clear the next call, you'd be dispatched to another one, and then you'd probably get a couple hours overtime because we're working nonstop here. It is a busy city. All right, we are over time. It's 5 minutes after 11, and that means it's time for me to say goodbye. I have to go prep to go to a school to talk to young people, and I'm looking forward to it. With that said, it's been a pleasure hanging out. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. I'm going to schedule that right now. See, I didn't schedule it to like midnight last night because I forgot. Oh, wait, did I miss something here? I said goodbye, but then I think I forgot something. Okay. I started saying goodbye. I see Jay said, opinion on electric cars. Do you think they're the future? I don't know. I like having gas. Oh, my watch is listening to me. I'll talk to him on voice. Okay, back tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Looking forward to it. We will see you then. Let me know what you think about having the extra screens on. Is it distracting? Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. Let me know. We're just playing with stuff here. That said, traffic song, and do we do traffic song or do we? Yeah, we do traffic song. I like the traffic song. I can't get enough of the traffic song. It's a great song written and performed by a police officer downstairs in the CIB. I like it, and it has a good message.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt save your life indeed. And watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get freed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.